Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of your Washington Weekly. I'm Don Cravins, Jr., the Executive Director of the National Urban League's Washington Bureau, and here are the top 5 things that you need to know. Well, you saw the Iowa caucuses have come and gone, and there were some interesting surprises that happened, as well as some tightening of the races for some of the parties. So we saw a win by Ted Cruz, who had a great ground game, from what I understand, in Iowa, and that paid off. He was able to get a pretty convincing win. I know that Mr. Trump was a little disappointed with the results. Remember, he skipped the last debate and now is saying that may have had some impact. Senator Marco Rubio, though, I think was the big winner that night. Even though he finished third, he did take several delegates from the state and has a lot of momentum going into the next Republican primary. Also, on the Democratic side, you saw that Hillary Clinton, Secretary Clinton, was able to eke out a very, very close win. But I think a win is a win. And she's going to take that momentum and go to New Hampshire, where Senator Sanders is the odds-on favorite because his home state of Vermont is very close to New Hampshire. And so the election season for president has begun, and it's very interesting and fun to watch. And so continue to stay tuned. We here at the Washington Bureau are continuing to follow the results of those early primaries and bring those results to you as they come in. Number 2 on our top 5 is on the Hill. What's going on the Hill? What's going on here in Washington, D.C.? Well, remember, both the House and the Senate are controlled by the Republican Party now. And so both Speaker Ryan and Majority Leader McConnell are in charge of what's going on in the legislative arena. And what you've been seeing a lot of here in Washington on Capitol Hill is our votes on Obamacare and whether the act should be repealed or portions of the act should be repealed, as well as votes on the Iran deal that was passed last year and signed into law by President Obama, which has now gone into effect, where Iran is getting billions of dollars that were being held by the United States. The idea that the president was to pass this legislation to have better relations with Iran. And so you're seeing a Republican Congress trying to override both Obamacare and Iran. Speaker Ryan Jay said that the Republicans have to take back the country, and the best way to do that is to quote the film Braveheart and call the Republican Party to get the country back by uniting the clans. And so there's a little bit about that in our Washington Weekly today. You can read for yourself what that means. Third on our list is our affiliate highlight. You know, every week we highlight one of our dynamic affiliates or one of our auxiliary organizations. This week we have to commend the great work of our affiliate in Flint, Michigan. As you know, there's a lot of serious issues going on with the water supply in Flint, Michigan. And this week we sat down with Jim Richardson, who's a board member for the Urban League of Flint, to talk about the water crisis and what's happening on the ground. And so that's a very important piece that we've got in our update, the conversation that we have with Mr. Richardson. So please pay attention to that, and we continue to watch and monitor that situation in Flint. Number 4 on our top 5 things to know is our Bureau update. We've got a lot happening here at the Bureau. Our team works hard every day on the issues that matter to you the most. This Friday, we're teaming up with Families USA for their 2016 Health Action Conference, and we'll have those details below. Also, due to the big blizzard of 2016 that we had here in the D.C. area, our webinar on the Every Student Succeeds Act was postponed. So be sure to see the new date below as well. Not least, making number 5 on your top 5 things to know, I got to talk about February, and this is Black History Month. And every February, we celebrate Black History Month and the contributions that African Americans have made to this wonderful country. Also, every February, there begins to be this discussion by some people in the community on whether or not we even need to highlight Black History Month. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just say it. It's very simple. There are 2 very important reasons why it's important to mark the contributions of African Americans and why February should continue being Black History Month. One, it's a very important part of American history. And it's a part of American history that's not always told. And so February gives us an opportunity to highlight some of those stories of those heroes and sheroes from the beginning of this country until present day who've contributed to this great nation. But the second reason we've got to keep Black history, a very important part of our history, is we as a people, Black and white and brown, we have to know our history, or else we'll be doomed to repeat it. And so if you look at the history of African Americans, from slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow to voting rights and civil rights to now, there have been certain things that we've continued to repeat. Our country has continued to repeat some of those injustices. The only way we're going to fix those injustices, in my opinion, or one of the ways, is to know our history and to make sure that we don't repeat our history. This week in our Washington Update, we've got a great piece about the National Urban League's history and how the National Urban League has been a vital part of American history and African American history. And so I hope you enjoy that. I look forward to celebrating Black History Month with you. We'll be back each and every week to give you a little bit more about Black history and American history. That's your top 5 things that you need to know this week. I'm Don Cravins. I'll see you next week.